Well, this is weird. Earth-shaking booming sounds have been reverberating off some parts of North Carolina for more than 150 years. Called Seneca guns, they're mostly heard near the coast. The sounds are so powerful, they often rattle window panes and sometimes vibrate entire buildings. They can last from 1 to almost 10 seconds. Even though scientists haven't cracked this mystery yet, there are some theories. They range from earthquakes to severe distant storms and quarry blasts. But even though the ground trembles every time the phenomenon occurs, no seismic activity coincides with these events. So far, scientists have concluded that the mysterious sounds happen in the atmosphere, not on or under the planet's surface. If this theory is true, bolids might be the answer. These extremely bright meteors often explode once they enter our planet's atmosphere. Or the Seneca guns might be born in the ocean. Sometimes when enormous waves collide far away from the shore, you can still hear it, even if you are nowhere near the coast. The pororoca means great roar. This phenomenon happens when the edge of an incoming tide creates a wave. And this wave, which can reach a height of 13 feet, then travels upstream. It can move 500 miles inland on the Amazon River. No wonder the pororoca is popular with surfers. Some of them manage to ride the world's longest wave for 33 minutes. But it's not all fun and games. Surfing the pororoca isn't safe because of the debris from the riverbanks. Now, once you set foot on the arid soil of the Namib Desert in Namibia, you'll see an eerie picture. Countless circular patches from 6 to 50 feet across are scattered all over the parched ground. They're organized in a honeycomb-like pattern and stretch 1,500 miles toward the horizon. These patches are also known as fairy circles. No one knows much about their origin, but there are lots of theories, from the radioactivity of the soil to the activity of sand termites. Pitom Crater, also known as Fire Eagle's Nest, is a massive hill in southeastern Siberia. It's made up of shattered limestone chunks. It's more than 500 feet across at the base and over 130 feet high. Researchers think the crater is around 300 years old, but its origin is unclear. The theories include a meteorite crash, a volcanic eruption, or a steam explosion. The most mysterious thing about the crater is that animals are unwilling to go anywhere near it. Almost no grass, plants, or trees grow on top of the hill. For the first time, a bizarre sound, later called the UPSWEEP, was registered in 1991 in the Pacific Ocean. One of the most unusual things about the sound is that it's constantly changing. It varies from high to low frequencies and then back again. You can hear it better in the spring and fall than in the winter and summer. The sound travels from the bottom of the ocean towards its surface. Scientists do have a theory explaining this phenomenon. They think it might be the activity of undersea volcanoes that causes the sound. Hot lava that's pouring into the ice-cold ocean water can theoretically produce this noise, but researchers haven't found any evidence to confirm this theory yet. If you get to the bottom of the Caribbean, just off the coast of Cuba, you'll see circular columns, paved floors, symmetrical stone structures. That's what the Cuban underwater city looks like. Why was a large city abandoned at a depth of more than 2,000 feet? Lots of people believe the ruins once belonged to a long-forgotten civilization. But scientists have their doubts. They claim the lost city is nothing but a natural phenomenon that appeared about 5 million years ago. Such disc and donut structures often occur around the areas of the seafloor where natural gases break free. Those who have ever heard an annoying noise a kettle makes when the water is boiling can imagine what the whistle sounds like. Even though this noise isn't as blood-curdling as some other unexplained sounds, it doesn't make the whistle any less mysterious. It's incredibly elusive. In 1997, only one underwater microphone was able to pick it up. At that time, researchers didn't manage to pinpoint the source of the noise. The most likely cause of the unusual sound is the eruption of one of the submarine volcanoes, but once again, there's not enough proof to make sure. Now imagine watching a volcano eruption, which is a terrifying view in itself. Suddenly, you notice ominous bright flashes lighting the sky over the volcano. This brings the scary experience to an entirely new level. The mysterious phenomenon is called volcanic lightning. It occurs because of static electricity when dense ash particles rub together not high above the ground. Another source of volcanic lightning is high above the surface, near the stratosphere. There, chaotically moving ice crystals trigger the powerful jolts. Now, this one started in the 1970s. That's when hundreds of Bristol's inhabitants began to complain about a bizarre noise. It was audible only at night. The sound was a low-frequency hum. Nobody could identify or trace its source. But the strangest thing about the hum was that one day it ended as abruptly as it started. But not before people in other towns across Britain reported hearing similar sounds. Some time ago, the enigmatic sound returned. In 2015, a group of scientists claimed they had solved the mystery of the Bristol hum. They stated that the culprit was massive waves that made the ocean floor vibrate. But this theory doesn't explain why the sound was around for only several years, why it disappeared, and why it chose to return. Just off the coast of Belize, there's a giant sinkhole. That's the Great Blue Hole. Good name. The thing is about 1,000 feet across and more than 400 feet deep. Once, a long time ago, this hole was a cave. But then, rising waters filled this cave, making it collapse in on itself. The deeper you descend into the Great Hole's crystalline waters, the darker it becomes. You see tons of stalactite-filled caves. Entering them is risky. You can get hopelessly lost. Scientists think the hole won't be around much longer. Waterfalls of sand fill it every day, turning the place into a huge underwater hourglass. The sardine run lasts from May to July. During this time, millions of sardines swim upward towards South Africa's east coast. You can probably imagine a feeding frenzy that starts at that time. Researchers know surprisingly little about this phenomenon. They believe the water temperature must get lower than 70 degrees Fahrenheit for the migration to begin. Now, you can find hair ice in the forest on a humid winter night. It looks like candy floss or a white-haired wig. Unusual ice crystals grow on rotting wood. Unfortunately, it all melts as soon as the sun comes up. Scientists have discovered what creates hair ice only recently: fungus. It allows ice to form super-thin hairs and helps them to keep their form throughout the night. When this particular type of fungus isn't around, instead of fragile hair, ice forms a crust-like structure. While exploring the Amazon rainforest, researchers discovered gigantic geoglyphs. They're geometrical drawings carved in the ground. The trenches were as large as 36 feet wide and 13 feet deep. They were created at different times, most between the 1st to the 15th century. There are more than 450 geoglyphs in the north of Bolivia and Brazil. The most ancient of them could be created 3,500 to 3,000 years ago. The huge earthworks were likely used for common meetings and discussions, but scientists haven't found enough proof yet. Frost flowers bloom on young sea ice in the Arctic Ocean or on thin lake ice. They're fragile and delicate ice crystals. These structures grow when temperatures change. They draw moisture from the ice surface and rise, capturing bacteria and salt. Frost flowers are also home to unusual microbes. Those can survive in the coldest temperatures you can only imagine. You can find frost flowers around Antarctica too, but wherever these crystals grow, people know disappointingly little about them. In Denmark, people are used to the black sun, but this phenomenon, with a scary name, has nothing to do with stars and space. Every spring and fall, millions of starlings begin their annual migration. They leave Sweden, Finland, and Norway and head toward Britain, Belgium, and France. But it's Denmark that's lucky to observe Sort Sol, that's the Danish name for the black sun. The birds travel in large flocks. This way it's easier to exchange information and stay warm. Before landing, starlings make movements that look like dancing. In reality, this is done to shoo enemies away. Dark sun lasts only 20 minutes during the sunset, and you have to be either fast or lucky to see this phenomenon.